Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi. So it's our second class of April. It is April 8th. It's almost tax day. And
Oh,
as usual, I'm down to the wire. My taxes will be done tomorrow.
oh, yay.
Woohoo. Um, all right. So tonight, Ari is teaching with one of the new collections, Spring Equinox. I'm going to spotlight her workspace here and take it away, Ari.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so glad to be here. This is exciting. And just for all of you out there in the virtual world, next week we're going to be here on a Tuesday, and Lisa will be back from Florida. So she'll be teaching. So just wanted to
Technically,
throw
she's
that out
already
there.
back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She came back Sunday
That's true.
night.
Yep, that is true. For voting, right? Because we had voting day
Yeah, she had
yesterday.
elections yesterday.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is Spring Equinox, and it's funny because Michelle and I were talking about this collection, and there's a lot of light and darkness, different colors in this. And so I recommend that if you have any interest in the patterns that you see, try it, check it out, because it's actually been kind of fun to play with. Sometimes what appears on the website might not be appealing, but then you see it in person, and you're like, oh, that's really pretty. And then when you break it up in different ways, can look different. And so for this layout, I tried to bring my two base pages are very dark. That's the dark black or navy that you see. There's a lot of light colors in there. So you can pull out canary and purple ice and cornflower. Was it corn? No, the coneflower. What is it? Cornflower blue. There's some blues to pull out, which makes it really fun. So my base pages are the darkness that you see here. You will need two pieces of cardstock, which is this canary that you see here. There's two large squares. And then there's one cut sheet, which is this purple ice color that you see. It's patterned. We are staying away from, I'm trying to think, I guess directional cut sheet. There is a pattern on it, but it can go in any manner. You will need your 12-inch trimmer, and we are also using, for fun, we're going to use our BMC, and preferably one that stays attached or has that negative space. So like this is dragonflies, but there's also there's many others. There's footprints, sandals, there's a bunch of them. Also, what was it? The bridge one. There's a lot that actually stay attached that you have. And that is great because we're going to make this detail on the edge of this piece of cardstock. So it's going to stay attached. The one that you see over here, this is where we're going to cut it to make this design on the end here. So, but you can fool around with, or even just if you have sticker strips, whatever you want. So you need a BMC, preferably staying attached, one that has you can see the silver around the whole rectangle part, so it allows you to know that it stays attached there. And what else? Oh, repositionable tape, because if you're punching out these small little pieces, the repo helps really well for that. And I think that's it. I did not embellish this, but after we're done cutting, I'm gonna embellish. So let's get enough chatting. We'll get cutting. And we talked about if your design that you're picking for your BMC maybe needs to go in a certain manner, like if it's a sand castle or we were talking about the bats or whatever, you could also maybe turn your page and you could even have it, instead of having it like this, you maybe can have it like this. So think about doing it, just spinning your paper around. And also for placement of your photos, this is for vertical photos. So you might need to put it this way for horizontal photos. So just a thought, something to think about. I'll show page one here. So for my base pages, you can pull yours out. I'm going to actually do something a little opposite of what I showed you here in the example. I'm going to do a lighter base with a darker cut sheet. This is my cut sheet. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, this is directional. I said don't do directional. It looks like these are like mountains. However, I'm going to cut a thin little strip that's going to be on the sides. And then they're going to become mats for your photos. So most of it's going to be covered up. So let's just see how it works. Sorry about that. And then these are my two pieces of cardstock. This is purple ice. So I thought this is all coordinating. And purple ice is contrasting with my base page. So it'll really pop out this center square here. All right, so grab your cut sheet. We'll start there. This is my designer paper cut sheet. And you got to get your trimmer. Actually, my new trimmer came, but I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. So I will use my old trimmer. And I should have pulled out the new one because we are going to cut odd numbers. So just bear with me. I know it's a work week. It's during the week. But you'll have no problem cutting this. All right, so my cut sheet, the first thing we're going to do, actually, I apologize. The first thing we're going to do is punch out. Look, I'm going to have the cutter close because we are going to cut off one strip. All right, so I'm going to insert my paper in this manner because I have a directional sheet. Let's see how this goes. And I'm going to punch all the way down. And this is going to be vertical. My strip that's punched out will end up vertical on my page. So maybe it is true. You can use a directional
I'm
punch.
confused, sorry. I thought you said that you were going to cut a little strip that would be underneath the cutout.
Yep, that comes up in a little bit.
So it's not the cardstock that gets punched?
Yes, it does. Yep, we're first going to do, you know what? I forgot to show you. We're first going to punch out this strip.
Oh, that's different. That's its own. Oh,
Yep,
that's a
we're
different
first doing
step.
that. But thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. So we're first punching this.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Here.
Okay. All right. So we're going to punch it all the way down. Now, and what's actually fun about this dragonfly, it punches out the cutest little dragonflies. They're like so cute, these little dragonflies. I love them. Some of them I saved, put on the paper. The rest are going recycle. All right, so that's our first punch. And now we need our cutter because we want to cut this strip off so that way we can create this bookend edge there. So now you need your cutter. And this is going to be an odd size. We are actually going to, you know what? Maybe I won't do the odd size. Instead of cutting 1 1/8, I'm going to actually cut this at 1 inch. So before you cut, why don't you pull out your paper, your little paper guide, your cut guide here, and make sure that you're not going to cut into your design because the idea is you want your whole design cut so that way it can just be along the edge here. So just double check that. And I'm going to place my paper at 1 inch. And then I'm just confirming it's not cutting any of my image out. And it's not. So I'm good to go. 1 inch. All right. So this is a slightly thinner strip than what I had before. I'm doing that. I'm just changing my directions a little bit just so I'll explain later. All right. So now we're going to put the cut up side. Sorry about the back and forth. We need to cut one more strip that's going to go on page 2. So now we're going to cut the second strip. So slide your paper right in, keeping it in the same manner that you had it, same orientation. punch it along. And then before we got on recording, girls, there was a mention that I think Deb had said, what about not keeping this piece that we just cut at 12 inches? So right now it's at a full 12-inch length. And I think it was a good idea. The idea was that, oh, we could cut this down to mimic the cardstock, the yellow cardstock here, so it won't overlap at the top there. And that actually might look kind of pretty. So that's just a thought to think about when we're putting it together. Because I like that idea, actually. Of trying it, it'll probably have a different look. All right, now we're going to cut this off at 1 inch. Again, I'm just going to make sure it doesn't, the cut line was supposed to be at 1 1/8, but that little eighth of an inch, I want to make up for it somewhere else. All right, so I placed it at 1 inch. I'm going to cut at 1 inch. And now we made page 2. Strip. And actually, if you want, you can just, we don't have to do page 1, page 2 goodies if you don't want to, because there's not too many things we're going to cut. All right, now I have a piece that looks like this, a big rectangle. So now, this is the next cut. This is what Jen was talking about. There's a little strip that we need to cut that goes underneath this purple that you see. That's what we're cutting next. And that's going to go right underneath your design here. And it's kind of neat. It gives it a look that as if the paper's continued all the way underneath. So it just makes it pop, a little design pop. So we're going to cut 2 of those strips. So our first cut is at 7/8. But don't be worried because 7/8 is just under an inch. And I know on the new trimmer, it says that, right, Michelle? I haven't even opened it.
It does, yep.
But it gives you the eighths. So
Wow.
I'm going to place my paper 2 lines to the left of my 1 inch mark. So it's just 2 little lines. There's a little line and then a longer line. That is 7/8. So it's not quite at 1 inch. It's 2 little hash lines before the 1 inch mark. That's 7/8. And I want to make a cut. And then I'm going to place that cut strip just to my right because I'm going to slide my paper to 7/8. And what's going to be great with the new trimmer, how it has the eighths on there, you guys are going to be pros now. You could like go cut wood for a living because everything is like an eighths and
Get a job
crazy
at the Home
fractions.
Depot.
That's right. You'll be like a whiz. All right, so 2 little lines before the 1 inch. I'm going to cut again at 7/8. And then I got my second skinny strip. Now, this larger rectangle, let's just put it aside for a second because we want to cut this down. So these 2 strips, we have to make them shorter. So we're going to have them horizontal on our trimmer. I'm going to put the old arm out. Make sure my little foot's out. And then I want to cut this down to 10 inches. I want these strips at 10 inches. All right, now these 2 little pieces, these are recycle. And then now I have 2 shorter strips. And those are great. 1 for each page of our layout. All right, the next thing we're going to cut, go back to our large rectangle. Now we're going to cut some squares. So we want to cut this mat for this photo. And then we have 2 mats over here. Oh, and there's our little, is another square. So now we want to cut 4 squares. This square can be a photo or it could be, it's going to become an embellishment square. All right, so let's place our paper at 4 inches. Place it right at the 4 inch mark. I'm going to make a cut. And the piece on the right, I'm just going to set aside. And then I'm going to rotate my paper. And I want to cut it at 4 inches to make a 4-inch square. So that's frame number 1. And that can go for page 1 or mat number 1. I'm going to slide my paper to 4 inches. Cut again. Now I have 2 4-inch squares. And then this is another, this becomes an embellishment, which because it's a square, I can rotate it. So if I have directional paper, that works out. So that's for page 1. And then this other 4-inch square goes for page 2. And we're going to cut 1 more square. So we still have this strip to deal with. And all we're doing, make sure it's horizontal on your trimmer. And then I'm going to cut at 4 inches. And that's the last square I need for this layout. So you know what? Maybe I lied. You can use directional paper for this, for the cut sheet. Sorry, girls. All right. So this leftover rectangle is extra. All right. The last thing we need to do, we have 2 sheets of cardstock to cut. So I'm using purple ice. And I'm going to cut these down. So I'm going to cut them first, then we're going to punch. That's how it's going to go. And it's pretty easy to do this. We're going to first do, this is page 1. So we want to make it this shape. It's going to highlight where we put our awesome photos. We're going to place this at 10 inches. So our first cut is 10 inches. And then what's left over, this little strip, is extra. And then you're going to want to rotate it. And you're going to cut at 11 inches. That was at 11 inches. So basically you end up with a rectangle. And the rectangle is horizontal on your layout. So we'll put it right there. And then the second cardstock is the same exact thing. We are going to first, well, just about, there's one other little cut with that. So we're going to start at 10 inches. And then this piece, this little strip, it's extra. And then we're going to rotate and cut at 11 inches. And then there's only one more cut to this, I'll show you. Then you get a skinnier strip. Again, you have a nice horizontal rectangle for page 2. I want you to reach back to that little pile of these strips. You're going to have these skinny strips and then slightly wider, longer strips. Take one of the longer strips, the one that is 2 inches, the wider one. So we're going to use a little piece of this. Make sure it's horizontal on your trimmer. And I want you to cut this at 3.5 inches. So 3.5 inches. We're just cutting off to make a small rectangle. And this becomes a base for just like a little embellishment cluster, if you choose. So it just gives you that option. And that is what you see on page 1 here. This yellow rectangle becomes just like a starting point for a little cluster. Title or something like that, or even a photo. Might highlight a photo better. Like a double, make like a double mat. All right. So now I have these extra little strips. I think I'm going to save these. I do like these extra strips sometimes. I use them often for like journaling or something, journaling boxes and stuff like that. So now we can put our trimmer away. We're done with the cutting. The last thing is we're going to punch. We're going to make this little detail that you see here on the edge of your cardstock. So all you have to do is make sure that your rectangle is horizontal. So the long way is this way, and that you're punching on the short side. So make sure your rectangle's horizontal. We're going to punch on the short side. So let's get punching. It's funny, I don't hear any punching, so everyone must have it must be muted. All right, so paper goes in the paper tray, and then I'm just going to punch. Pretty design. Now, because I'm working with cardstock, what's really cool is the design. So I just punched it, and it's like, oh, all my little bugs are facing down, but I can just flip it over. And that's the beauty of the cardstock. If you were using a designer paper and you needed to see the side, you'd have to be more cautious when you're punching, because you're going to want to punch on the proper side based on or how you want the orientation of your detail. So hopefully that helps you. And then it's fun to save some of these little dragonflies. They're so cute. So I'll save a few. All right, so I have page 1 punched. And then we're just going to repeat that. You want the horizontal rectangle. But if you were using designer, it might be a little trickier. You just have to think about your punch. For instance, if I had designer paper, I guess you'd have to flip it on the side that you'd want it to be in the proper orientation. Save a few of these. The only problem with this one is that all those little dots go everywhere. So you definitely need a vacuum after this one. There's all those little dots. All right, now we're done doing the hard work. Fun part begins where we get to assemble. I'm going to bring out my base page. And we talked about this earlier. This paper is actually really pretty. I'm glad you guys liked it on the screen. It is actually very pretty in person. The colors are just slightly different. I want to say they're like darker, muted, different colors. So you can easily brighten this up with white or this canary. I love this yellow canary paper, or even like the purple that I'm using. Purple ice. So the first thing I'm going to do, and see with cardstock, it's nice, you can just flip it over. First, we are going to put down our cardstock middle. I'm looking for my repo tape. To bring an extra. I know this one's running out, so. All right, so I want to make sure. So it might be a good idea to run some repo along your detailed area, depending on how frilly your edge is there. You might want to run your tape along there just so it doesn't pop up. If you use page protectors, or if you're trying to slide it in your pocket page, helps keep it down better. And I'm making sure my base page is right nestled in my 13-inch mat, so I can see that I am exactly an inch from the bottom and an inch from the top. So I'm putting it on the 1-inch line, and then it's at the 11-inch line on the top. And now we're just building our page. All right, next. Oh, you know what? I had you guys put that repo. I forgot about our little, don't tap down. We got to do our little strip underneath there. So one of the fun little details on here is this strip of paper right underneath these dragonflies. So this one I didn't put the tape because I wanted to be able to lift it easy to show you guys. But what I'm gonna do is put, I already put it down. I'm gonna do this the proper way. Sorry about that, ladies. I'm gonna lift it up since it's repo. I can do that. And I'm actually gonna put a little bit more of the repo tape along my detailed edge so that way I can put my strip on first. Let's do that first. And when you put the strip on, I'm just making sure that it covers all the punched areas. Just making sure it covers the punched areas. Now I'll put a little bit of repo on that. Now I'm going to put it on my base page. So sorry about that. Tack down my base page because it's sliding all over the place. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated here. All right, so 1 inch at the top, 1 inch at the bottom. And now you can see the design. It's actually nice, this like dark in there, making it. I'm not sure I love how there's different colors. It might have been better if it was more an all over pattern. Like you can see on here, it really, every single one pops. All right. And now what we have to do is put the strip along the left edge. And that can be, trying to figure out. I think I'm gonna have, so see what's happening? Because I picked a pattern, you can see that it's distracting because I have this like kind of a, it's not an all over pattern. It's more just, so I'm wondering if I might just go like this. And even though it's similar to my base page, I kind of like how it's more uniform. So for my eye, I'm actually going to put it in this manner, but I had planned on putting the dark color this way, but I don't know if I like it that way. Ugh. All right, I'm going to try it with the dark and see if I can live with that. If I can't, I'm going to switch it. So I'm only going to put a little bit of repo tape. Now, when you put this down, it's 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the paper. So sorry about all these little changes, but sometimes when you're creating, you're kind of doing it on the fly and figuring out what you like, what pleases your eye. All right, now all we have to do is just put our squares. And we have this one in the lower left and one in the upper right. And then you can see, you can fit not quite a 4x6, it's 4x5.5 photo here, and then here, and the open space. So yeah, I don't know. I might actually like this the other way. Very interesting. Now I like putting the photo spacers in, which I wish I had some pre-cut. Steal them. Aha. And when I put my 4-inch by 5.5-inch photo spacer, I can see it actually fits my squares. My squares are exactly 4x4, which is what I wanted to do earlier. Okay, good. All right. Good. Earlier when I was saying when we cut our little strips off, I was cutting them at 1 inch instead of 1 1/8. All right, so we'll just keep going here. All right, I'll put this one in here. Just switch them over. And the photo placement, these spacers are just good to make sure everything is uniform. So you put it all in the right spot. All right, perfect. So that is page 1. Oh, wait, we need that other little, that little piece, that 2 inch, what is this, 2 inch by 3.5. And that just goes in this open square. And then we can put some embellishments on there, some journaling, title, anything you want. So I'll come back to that. Right, so that's page 1. Then essentially we're going to do the same thing for page 2, and you guys might even be ahead of me. All right, so my base doesn't move. So this time we're going to do this the proper way. We're going to, so this goes right up to the right-hand side, tied up against the right-hand side. But what I need to do is show that other contrasting color underneath here. And that is my skinny little strip. So this is the orientation. I need my cardstock, so I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to put adhesive along my little design. And then I'm going to put my little strip just to cover whatever's punched out. So I can't wait to see what you guys have. All right. Sorry, I might have a little cough fit. All right, so 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. Oh man, sorry. I have hot tea here, but it doesn't always help. All right. And then we just need the squares. And then you can fit a 3 by 3.5 by 3.5 photo inside your square, decorative square. I see what I'm missing, my little strip. So let's do that next. It's funny, I don't love the dark. I might switch it to the light, but for now I'll put the dark. So it's 1/4 of an inch, which is 2 of those little lines from the edge of the paper. Being difficult. All right, there we go. All right, now I can fit my squares and rectangles in here. So I'm just eyeballing. It's about 1/4 of an inch around each shape. And it's funny because this color, even though it's similar to the base, doesn't look so bad. Once you get your photo in there, you're only going to see, you know, 1/8 of an inch edge around it. But all right, all right, good. So that is done. So I just have to, that completes this, our layout. And then feel free, I think we might have mentioned this, but turn it if you need to based on your design, or if you have horizontal pictures. Some of them will be square, but some are horizontal. But feel free to just switch this around in any manner to make it fit your pictures and stuff. And then here, I'm just going to put, there's actually some really beautiful sayings with this. Spring Awakening. You know, you could fit some of these, cut these down to fit in this square as well. There's some pretty, there's this pretty sun. You could bring in another color. So let me just see. I have the, oh, this cute Hello Spring. Oh, I like that. Spring Equinox. Oh, Awaken, Balance, Renew. So you could save this box for a title. Oh, there's some pretty things here. Oh, these are mushrooms. Those are those crazy mushrooms. Thought they were flowers at first. Oh, there's pretty butterflies. Like that. Yeah. Oh, and there's these fun, look at these little stick, like these are the pussy willows. Use these to edge your photos. Or even the little corner here. That right there. That's cool. Yeah, you can have some fun with this. Butterfly. Hello, spring. And that's it. I think we can stop the recording. I'm just going to play around here now. But you get the idea. So thank you for
Right.
joining us.
Thank you, Ari.
You're welcome.
All right, for all of you out in video land, don't forget to post photos of what you create. See you all soon.